Hello, everybody listening and watching this podcast. We are back with another episode of the Rants of a Red Devil podcast. It's another match preview, and today we are previewing Manchester United's game against Aston Villa. United are obviously on a great run of form, beating Brighton at the weekend 5-2, despite some dodgy goalkeeping and some dodgy defending. Still looked incredible going forward and still picked up the 3 points, scoring 5 goals in the process. That's now 16 games unbeaten, so we are really on a roll and we're really marching toward that top 4. Just 2 points behind Chelsea. They've got some tough games to come. Leicester also only 3 points behind them. They have some tough games to come as well. So, yeah, we're looking good. Like I say, defensively, a little bit suspect at the weekend against Bournemouth. Again, De Gea making a couple of errors. One he was punished with, the first goal from Stanislas. Could have got punished again by Danjuma, beaten at the near post, but the post bailed him out this time. So it is really becoming an area of concern. The goalkeeper position. It's never really been an issue before. So hopefully he can have a good game against Villa, who themselves are having a torrid time. And if rumours are correct, they're going to be without their best defender in Tyrone Mings, and possibly their best player in Jack Grealish. Watching Villa, anything good that they do seems to go through Jack Grealish. So if he's missing, that's a massive blow for Villa and a massive plus for United. I mean, they've still got some threats in John McGinn, Conor Hourihane, but I think that's pretty much it. I don't think we have to worry too much about Samatta, the striker. He doesn't look too dangerous, so hopefully David De Gea has an easy day, and hopefully he's not tested sort of like that Brighton game that we played, where he can have a quiet evening. I mean, personally, I think it should be 3 points, and I know Ollie since the restart has gone with his strongest 11 every time, and I completely understand why. Obviously, that chase for top 4 it's hotting up now, so he's going with his strongest 11 every time to guarantee the points. If the job's done after an hour, like it was against Brighton, like it was done against Sheffield United, he's bringing them off. And I think the cup game against Norwich highlighted to him probably what he already knew, and he was lacking in depth. So I think we're going to see a pretty strong lineup again against Aston Villa. But I think over our next 3 games, this is probably the easiest. So it's Villa, then we play is it Crystal Palace or Southampton on the Monday, and then the other one, so Crystal Palace or Southampton, whichever we don't play on the Monday, we play again next Thursday. So it's 3 games in a week. And this is probably the easiest of the 3, especially if they're without Tyrone Mings and Jack Grealish. So if Ollie was going to rest some players, this is probably the game to do it. I can see a couple of changes coming for this game. He hinted at them before the Bournemouth game, and it didn't happen. He stuck with that same 11 that's been winning him games. But I think if he's going to make changes and give players a rest, this is probably the game to do it. Like I say, Villa don't look a threat, even though they got the draw at Old Trafford earlier this season. They don't look a threat at the moment, especially if they're without Grealish. They really don't look a threat. So I can possibly see 1 or 2 changes. So if we go with the predicted starting 11, our predicted starting 11, I think we're going to obviously be seeing David De Gea in goal, like we've said before. I think Solskjaer's going to stick with him, at least till the summer. Might tot up the amount of mistakes he makes between now and then, and that ultimately decides his number 1 for next season. But I think he sticks with him till the summer. So he's going to put the arm around him, try and get him playing again, cutting out the silly mistakes and the silly errors. But it's going to be David De Gea in goal. Right back, it's going to be Aaron Wan-Bissaka, best right back we've got. Young player, doesn't really need the rest at the moment, so it's going to be Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Centre backs obviously going to be the captain, Harry Maguire, but alongside him, this is possibly one of those changes that could be made. It all depends on the fitness of Victor Lindelof. Obviously, he came off at half time against Bournemouth with a problem. I don't know how serious that problem is. I haven't heard any news regarding the problem. So I think if he's fit, he plays. I think if he's still not over that back injury, or I presume it's a back injury, because he's suffered in the past with them. So if he isn't over that injury, I think Eric Bailly comes into the side. Now he looked a little bit suspect against Bournemouth in that those early minutes of the second half when he came on. He didn't look like he was up to speed with the game. But this might be a good game just to give him a run. Maybe Lindelof a rest if he is struggling with games. And then left back, I think he'll still stick with Luke Shaw, even though I think this is probably the ideal game to give Brandon Williams some minutes. But I think he'll stick with Shaw. I think we might see a change in midfield with Nemanja Matic dropping out. Obviously recently signed his new deal in the past couple of days. But I think he might get a rest. I don't think Ollie wants to run him into the ground, because he was running to the ground, and that's where we were at the start of the season saying Matic is finished. When he had a break, he came back and looked a completely different player. So I don't think he necessarily wants to run Matic into the ground. So I think it's either going to be McTominay or Fred. Probably, I think he might just go for Fred. Bit of experience out of the two. McTominay and Fred go for a little bit more experience in Fred. And bring him into the midfield. I think Bruno starts, because I've said before that Bruno starts every game. When your best players, when you need to win games, your best players need to be on the field, and we still need to win games. So Bruno starts, and alongside him, I think Paul Pogba starts. Back to the same sort of adage as Bruno: when you need to win games, you need your best players on the field, and they've been fantastic since the resumption of football, and Bruno before that. So I think Bruno and Pogba both start, and I think we see the same front three as well, to be honest, that we've seen in recent games, with Rashford on the left, obviously picking up the goal from the penalty at the weekend. Looked pretty sharp as well. So hopefully he's coming back into a bit of form, and I think the minutes will help him. Still continue to give him minutes. Out on the right, Mason Greenwood, his 2 goals at the weekend have just propelled him on. It's 15 goals in all competitions now for Mason. He's been absolutely fantastic again. I think it's the sort of game that suits him, where his ability to go left or right by him half a yard of space. So Greenwood, I think, starts, and through the middle, Martial. Again, he's been in fine form most of the season, and that front three are interchangeable, and they seem to work well together. So I think he'll stick with that front three. It's only making a couple of changes. In terms of the score, Villa are a side that they look pretty poor at the moment. Whether that's just they're devoid of confidence because they've had a rough season, or whether they do just genuinely lack the quality, I don't know. We've seen that they can turn up. They turned up against us at Old Trafford, so we've seen that on the big occasion that they can turn up. But I think it'll be a comfortable win for United, and I'm going to go with a 4-0 win. I don't think Villa pose enough problems going forward, especially without Grealish, if that is the case, to score a goal. And I don't think they're solid enough at the back, especially without Mings, and especially against playing against Bruno and Pogba, to keep United out. I think it's going to be a comfortable victory. I think Solskjaer's going to get the job done within the hour, and then he can ring the changes and give the likes of Bruno, Pogba, Rashford, Martial a rest. So I think it'll be 4-0, dealt with within the hour, and there'll be those ring of changes made by Solskjaer. As always, after the game, we have the written match review on site. To check that out after the game, go to rantsofareddevil.com. We also have on there past episodes of these podcasts, along with other United related articles and match reviews from previous games. You can also follow us on Twitter at RantDevil. The link will be left in the description, where we try to get breaking United news out as quickly as possible. You can also catch episodes of this podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, on iTunes, and as we said, on the website. So if you could, whatever platform you are listening to this on, that's amazing, and we thank you for listening. But if you are listening to it on iTunes or watching these podcasts on YouTube, if you could like this episode, and if you could subscribe to the channel, that would really help us out, and we would appreciate it. Again, hope we're writing another positive match review after the game, and let us know your thoughts either in the comments below or on Twitter, as your predicted starting 11s and your predicted final scores. So until the next one, we will catch you later, and hope it's a good game for us.